Terry, great point against Hearts last weekend. Looking forward to the visit of the SPL champions this weekend.
Yes, it was great to keep our unbeaten tag. At half time, down to 10 men, 2-0 down. I didn't exactly think that we would remain unbeaten at the end of the 90 minutes, but you're in a situation where we have to readjust and readapt, and we change things around a little bit. But the players are absolutely magnificent, and the more the game went on, the more belief the players got, particularly with Andy Shinnie's penalty. And to be unbeaten right on the last kick, and for Conor Pepper to score the equaliser was just, I said it was dreamland at the time, and a sort of fairy tale, and that's how it appeared. We were all pinching ourselves in the bus on the way home. Did that really happen? But it was most incredible. I called the team the Incredibles that day, so they weren't quite wearing masks, but their performance was superhuman, I felt.
Great belief and spirit as well, and the performance, especially second half, to come back, and it's something you'll need against Celtic on Saturday.
Yeah, we certainly will. I mean, we're unbeaten at home. Only played one game, but we're unbeaten at home. This time last year, after our first home game, we'd already lost. So we haven't lost at home, and that's nice. That's a nice thing to say. So obviously on Saturday, Saturday evening, we still want to be unbeaten at home, and we want to be, carrying on the good work that the boys have started in those first three matches. But it's a magnificent test for us and a great challenge for us, and something that I'm sure the boys will rise to. And a lot of the boys haven't actually played against Celtic before; they've only seen them on the TV, so they'll soon realise what it's all about. But we're all telling them about the pace of the game and how Celtic play, and the atmosphere that's going to be here on Saturday. TV cameras are going to be here and everything else like that. So it's going to be brilliant.
Celtic have had a tough couple of weeks. Real Madrid, then they were at Ross County, away to Sweden midweek. Do you hope to take advantage of maybe a kind of well-travelled Celtic team?
Well, we hope so, but I think they've been up here before. I think somebody said last week in the papers it was a wearisome journey up the A9, but they don't actually come up the A9; they fly over the A9. So it's not exactly a 45-minute wearisome journey compared to the 3.5 hours that we normally experience. But they're experienced internationals, a lot of them in the Celtic squad. They've been here before; they know exactly what it's all about. They're only up in the same hotel in Inverness last week when they played Ross County, so it's a bit like deja vu for them. But we've certainly played against Celtic before, and they're playing against us. And Neil Lennon in particular knows what we're all about and what he expects from us, and that's what I demand from our players. To give Celtic the hardest game of those three matches that they've had this week.
You mentioned unbeaten start to the season, also the 3 games at the end of last season as well. So I guess you're unbeaten in 6, but great positive to take into the game against Celtic.
Well, that's nice to know. Unbeaten in 6, that's quite nice. But I think it's a different team that we've got this year to one we've had against Celtic before. They've got a few injury problems, so they'll obviously make a few changes. But we've got Richie Ferran and Noah and Tudor Jones out, so we'll have to make a change from last week. But I'm still very pleased with what we've got, and the players are fit, they're strong. They certainly worked their socks off last week, and we'll have to do the same again on Saturday. But we've also proved that in those 3 matches and the 3 matches at the end of last season, that we can score and we can make chances, and we look as though we're going to score as well whenever we attack. So that's good. The organisation of the team is good too, especially after last week going down to 10 men. So the confidence is there, and the boys have built that confidence up bit by bit during the season, and we're getting stronger, we're getting better, because they know about each other a lot more too as well. So I'm very, very pleased, not only for the game on Saturday, but we're looking forward to the rest of the season too.
Richie and Owiner obviously out for the weekend, but you'll have to make a change, like you say. But this season you've had a lot of joy from the bench. Nick coming off it, and
absolutely.
It pays like Conor Pepper and Nick had a big impact, and Josh as well on Saturday.
Gavin Morrison, we've had a fantastic response, and I think that's been one of the most pleasing aspects of this season, is that whenever you put a sub on, whenever you put somebody on, they've shown right. I've got the bottle to go and handle this. I'm going to make an impression. I'm not going to let anybody down, and I'm going to do my job and do it very well. And I think if you've got that mindset from your bench and that same mindset with the 11 that start the game, you've got a right good chance. So we want to continue that. And I think that's been a real plus, has been their mental strength and their mental attitude this season.
Just about to speak to Gary Warren, but I thought on Saturday him and Simon King are really kind of settling in at centre half and look like a real good pairing.
Yeah. I mean, both of them get booked every week as well, which is unusual. But they're great competitors, aren't they? I mean, but they've got a bit of experience as well. Simon's 29. He's played a lot of football. Gary's, it's his first real sort of full season as a professional. But he's certainly warming to the task. I thought last week against Hearts he was magnificent against John Sutton and stuck his head in, and which I would expect any centre half.
I think he won every header.
Yeah, well, I would expect any centre half to really give it everything, and he's certainly done that. And he's I think the most important thing from the players' point of view is that they've played 3 games in the SPL and they say, right, we can handle this. We can do well in this. This could be a really good season for us. I think that from a confidence point of view, like I say, it's just been wonderful. So we want that to continue, and we've got nothing to lose against Celtic on Saturday. We want to keep unbeaten. We want to keep our performance levels going, our work rate and intensity, and making chances as well. And there's no reason why we can't continue that against the champions.
Thank you, Terry. Cheers.